Mr. Rahul Gandhi keeps moving around the country and keeps saying, where is SC, ST, OBC? Where is SC, ST, OBC? I asked him a counter question that you have government in so many states. Have you empowered any person from the SC, ST community? The answer is no. Much before Oxford and Cambridge came into existence, we have had Nalanda and Vikramshila. It's a land of Bodh, it's a land of Mahavir. This election is very important in a way because this is an election of 2025 where we are looking forward to building a strong foundation. So the transition from vote bank to thought bank has been very transformational, has been very fundamental in nature. Before 2014, we were just treated as ceremonial and symbolic positions. When a tribal girl going to school in a remote Jharkhand, Odisha or Chhattisgarh sees Honorable President Draupadi Murmu ji, she sees a reflection of herself.
Namaste, welcome to Patna. Sorry, you should be saying that.
Welcome to Patna, Sharan.
So what should people expect ahead of the Bihar elections? Because Bihar is the most discussed election of all time.
No, I think Bihar has become the pivot of national interest and national politics, and for right reasons, for historical reasons, for cultural reasons, for political reasons, obviously. You know, this is the 50th year of emergency, and Bihar was the place, I think, a couple of kilometers from here, Gandhi Maidan, where the first voice of resistance against emergency started. Bihar, as Honorable Prime Minister says, we are the mother of democracy. And I think 1 hour away from this place, you would see Vaishali, where we still have remnants of democracy. The first notion, the first idea of republic, Vaishali, Lichvi, Ganrajya came from there. Bihar also, because much before Oxford and Cambridge came into existence, we have had Nalanda and Vikramshila. It's a land of Bodh, it's a land of Mahavir, it's a land of Guru Gobind Singh, it's a land of Chhati Maiya. So I think it's an interesting time, it's an exciting time, and for young people like us, we have a lot to look forward to.
I wanted to do a quick bit of intro segment, but since you mentioned the emergency, I'll dive right into it. The JP movement actually produced the current generation of Bihar leaders, and that generation is almost taking a retirement now. They're being replaced by their own kids, and newer leaders are emerging. But not a lot of people are entirely happy in retrospect about some of the leaders that the JP movement would have created back then.
No, I absolutely agree and disagree in a way because you see, leaders are product of their times. And there was a time when anti-Congressism was the pivot of Indian politics. Coalitions, the Janata coalition, the coalition in '69, the SVD coalition, all of these coalitions were essentially targeted at the atrocities of the Congress party. And like you said, the second generation of JP movement, Nitish ji, Lalu ji, Ram Vilas ji, late Sushil Modi ji, I think they guided the politics of Bihar. And I think this election is very important in a way because this is an election of 2025 where we are looking forward to building a strong foundation of the vision of Viksit Bharat as has been proposed by Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji.
What would be your introduction if you were to introduce yourself to our audience? I mean, everybody knows you as the national spokesperson of the BJP.
Yeah, my party, I'm really privileged and honored by my party to be given a position to present and articulate the position of our party on various issues. I'm one of the national spokesperson. I also teach, I'm a student of law, but I teach law at the Patna University, Department of Law. And I think I am not very sort of expert when it comes to speaking about myself. But as part of introduction, I think these two are part of my life.
Are you first generation into politics?
No, my father has been an active worker of the Bharatiya Janata Party as well. He served as a junior minister under Atal Bihari Vajpayee. So I'm a second generation worker of the Bharatiya Janata Party.
I think if I were to draw parallels between Bihar and Karnataka, where I come from, even in Karnataka, your party is struggling a little bit. It has never gotten a majority of its own. There are various reasons there. Their regionalism is perhaps a bigger reason than caste as a factor. Here, there are other factors. So what has the history of, say, the Hindutva forces here been? Why does the BJP struggle even today?
I don't think we struggle because if you see for the last 20 years, the Bharatiya Janata Party in coalition with the JDU has been serving the people of Bihar. And I think it was Bihar only when the likes of George Fernandez, Sharad Yadav, they came together and formed a coalition with the Bharatiya Janata Party. We have been in service of the people of Bihar for the last 20 years. And to say the angle or the dimension of Hindutva, I would not say that we are struggling. Bihar is very much the land of Sanatan. Bihar is land of Ma Janki, and our government has announced that the place where Ma Janki was born will have a similar temple as it is there in Ayodhya. Apart from that, we just finished the Navratra. We are now looking forward to Diwali and Chhat, which is very important and very special in the sense that it has a metaphorical message as well. We worship not only the rising sun, but we also worship the setting sun. It in a way sends a message that everything that rises is set to withdraw also at some point in time. It has a lot of religious, spiritual and philosophical connotation as well. Bihar, I think, has been a seat of Sanatan and definitely has been a strong pillar of Hindutva.
So when it comes to subaltern politics, I think you, Abhinav Prakash and a few other names, you've really outshined, say, your counterparts in the other parties in a manner of speaking. But is it difficult, like how is it right now if the BJP has to say, suddenly dabble into caste census, into recalling the politics during the Mandal time? So how is the party sort of managing this?
You know, this is a popular narrative which is not entirely correct. And BJP, since its inception, has been very committed to the cause of the marginalized section. If you look at our ideological fountainhead, Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay, who gave the vision of Antyodaya. Now, what is Antyodaya? The definition of Antyodaya, or the vision or the imagination of Antyodaya, is Pankti mein khade antim vyakti ka kalyan. The last person who is in the line should be empowered, no matter what caste he is, what gender, what language he or she speaks. So I think our vision has always been clear: inclusive growth, sustainable development, and the rise of the marginalized has been the structural and the foundational part of the Bharatiya Janata Party. So to say that the subaltern politics is different from Hindutva politics, I see it as a pseudo-leftist, no longer liberal, but construct or a narrative, just because that suits their agenda. But the Bharatiya Janata Party, if you look at our history, we have had Kalyan Singh, the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. We have had Shivraj Singh Chauhan, the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh. Even today, if you look at our Chief Ministers in Madhya Pradesh, Mohan Yadav ji, we have, so Mr. Rahul Gandhi keeps moving around the country and keeps saying, where is SC/ST OBC, where is SC/ST OBC? I asked him a counter question, that you have government in so many states. Have you empowered any person from the SC/ST community? The answer is no. If you ask me, the Bharatiya Janata Party, we have a Dalit Deputy CM in Madhya Pradesh. We have a Dalit Deputy CM in Rajasthan. We have an Adivasi Chief Minister in Odisha. We have an Adivasi Chief Minister in Chhattisgarh as well. For the first time in our history, we have an Adivasi ki beti sitting at the highest constitutional office. On every indicator, on every position of power and influence today, you see people from marginalized section are there. Fact of the matter is that after Baba Saheb Ambedkar, the only Dalit who has become the Union Law Minister is Mr. Ram Tekwal. We have had Dalit President for the party, late Bangaru Lakshmanaji. Prime Minister himself comes from an extremely backward caste and a very humble origin and a very humble background as well. When we got the opportunity, APJ Abdul Kalam ji became the President of the country. When we got the opportunity, CP Radhakrishnan, who comes from South, comes from OBC community, is today the Vice President of the country. The Padma Samman, the Lok Sabha, the Rajya Sabha, all the positions of power and influence, position of consequence that matters in politics, policy making, leadership and governance today are being led by, are being shaped by voices from the marginalized sections.
You have a slightly different take on the caste census, right, compared to your peers. Do you think it's a necessity? Because in Karnataka, I mean, let's not contest the fact that it is necessary just for the sake of argument, but the whole exercise has turned into a clown show right now because the schools are being given off for 10 to 15 days. Now, for the second or the third time, again, it is being redone because the data metrics were completely taken wrong and people used to tell anything in front of my house. They've put a completely different caste certificate and they've gone off. My parents sort of panicked. So how is it in Bihar?
No, you have to understand that our position, the position of the party has been very consistent when it comes to caste census because first time when it happened in Bihar, it was the BJP-led NDA that initiated the exercise, number one. Number two, you spoke of the Karnataka model. I need not say that Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, the president of the Congress party, has on multiple occasions said that I do not approve of the caste census model of Karnataka, I approve of the model of Telangana. And I think it has been in waiting for years because of the conflict or the discontentment between the Vokalikas and the Lingayats that the Congress party is struggling with. For the Bharatiya Janata Party, like I said, our politics is based on issues. Our politics is premised on the idea of nation first. We do not do politics with respect to any particular community. Honorable Prime Minister has said this, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas and Sabka Prayas. We have ensured that voices from each and every section gets their due, and that has been a historical part of our journey.
While there are a lot of marginalized communities now getting to positions of power, but if you actually look at the data, it shows that perhaps the development that they should be receiving, the sort of economic inequality that is faced even today, is quite stark in that sense. So what do you think, where did things sort of go wrong, especially in Bihar? The metrics are quite scary in that sense.
No, I agree with you because the first 5 to 6 decades of our independence, we have seen the marginalized section were treated only as mere vote banks. It is only in the last 11 years that we are being treated as thought banks as well. So the transition from vote bank to thought bank has been very transformational, has been very fundamental in nature. Before 2014, we were just treated as ceremonial and symbolic positions. But today, as far as the indicators are concerned, if you look at the data from the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, there used to be a massive scale of financial untouchability as well. People from marginalized section were not part of the organized banking networks. But I think it has happened in the course of the last 11 years that more than 55 crore Jan Dhan accounts have opened and people have now become part of the organized banking network as well. Similarly, if you look at the Mudra data as well, the sizable amount of beneficiaries come from the OBCs, the EBCs, the SCs and STs. There is a movement within the young SCs. They are now aspiring to become the part of New India growth story. There is a sensation, there is a movement, there is a saying, there is a slogan that says we do not want to become job seekers, but we want to become job givers as well. That level of aspiration has sort of transformed our psyche, which has been suppressed for years, which has been suppressed for decades under the Congress regime. And I think the Bharatiya Janata Party today, the example of this is the third time coming back of Prime Minister Modi. I think you can only come back to power when the majority of the population is with you. You look at the data from the CSDS, more than 45% of the marginalized section are solidly standing with Prime Minister Modi because they see a reflection of themselves when they see an OBC Prime Minister. When a tribal girl going to school in a remote Jharkhand, Odisha or Chhattisgarh sees Honorable President Draupadi Murmuji, she sees a reflection of herself. When a small-time party worker like me sees Honorable Prime Minister leading the country, ushering the nation into becoming the 4th largest economy in the world, we see a reflection of ourselves. There is a sense of belongingness. There is a sense that we can also be part of the New India growth story as a relevant stakeholder, as a force of consequence.
So what we do on Bodh is that we try to pivot from the normal conversations, and it's almost like a master class. It's like you giving a behind-the-scenes perspective of what happens in politics, right? Interesting is that last evening I was having dinner with almost 4 to 5 IAS officers, very senior, and they've been when Lalu was at the helm, and these are major decision makers. And I was asking them, what is the issue? There is so much thought in Bihar, like there's depth, and there's so many bright people. They're running positions and posts all over the country. So why is Bihar in such a state? And they say that, to your disbelief, there is so much caste hierarchy existing even today, even among IAS officers. अगर मैं पूछूंगा नाक का एक सर्जरी कराना है, then the Jha will always recommend me a Jha. The Brahmin will always recommend me to a Brahmin. So in that sense, when the society itself is not willing to socially, sort of move and drop all these caste hierarchies, then what will any Nitish Kumar do? What will any Lalu Yadav do? Because Nitish Kumar even tried, but finally, if the society is rejecting such progressive measures, then what?
नहीं देखो, इसमें we have two sides of it. I would not disagree with you when you say that the caste hierarchy is really on the surface in Bihar, but it's true for the rest of the country as well. I think you have the division of Fokaligas, Blandayats. We live under the impression that Kerala is a very literate state, but the amount of casteism that Kerala has seen is second to none.
Yeah.
We have had social reformers like Narayan Guru. We have had social reformers like Ankali, who sort of shaped the resistance of the movement led by the marginalized section. In fact, I was surprised to know that there is a community called Idva in Kerala, and there was a breast tax as well. So women from the marginalized section were not allowed to cover their upper body. And then there is an anecdote where a woman, she was wearing something on her upper body. Tax collectors came and said that you should give us tax. She said, I don't have money. She went inside the house. She got a knife and cut off her breast. So I think there are some moving examples. Even today, we see stories from Tamil Nadu where a Dalit student was wearing a wristwatch, his hands were slit. And I think it's a truth, it's an unfortunate truth, but the vision of Baba Sahib Ambedkar and the reforms, the social, developmental and the economic reforms that has happened in the course of the last 11 to 12 years has been very foundational and transformational in nature.
You've often spoken about Dalit entrepreneurs being added to the economy, but Bihar is such a peculiar state where there is UPSC obsession even today, and many of the officers that we spoke to also were telling me about that. So in that situation, is it difficult to convince the youth? Like, what does the youth today want? Do they, because especially after Tejashwi Yadav made an announcement that har ghar mein ek sarkari naukri milegi, that took me by surprise. I did not imagine the scale at which people are aspirational about this.
No, you see, government job gives you a sense of security, and that is definitely true in our part of the country. But at the same time, if you give them opportunities, if you give them leverage to grow, they are not unwilling. They are willing to grow as well. In fact, today I can give you thousands of such examples where Biharis have a startup on drones. Biharis, there is a startup called Roadways where there is a taxi movement, taxi monitoring system across the state. There are startups with respect to farm producers as well. Things have changed, but the promises that has been made by Mr. Tejashwi Yadav, he keeps saying 10 lakh naukri denge, 20 lakh naukri denge, but he skips a word. He means to say 10 lakh mein naukri denge, 20 lakh mein naukri denge. He says land for job because it's established in the court day before when the charges were framed. And I think it's an open secret in Bihar. When Mr. Lalu Yadav was the Union Minister of Railways, he gave 2 Indian Railway owned properties to a person whom he liked. And in exchange of that, he took a land in the posh Bailey Road area of Patna. It has been established in the court. So I think the 15 years misrule, the misgovernance that was termed as Jungle Raj by Patna High Court has been a huge setback for Bihar. Bihar was leading in the first decade, but the constant rule of the Congress party and the misrule and the misgovernance of 1.5 decades of Lalu Yadav and Rabri Devi has taken us behind. But since 2005, if you look at the basic essential indicators like IMR, infant mortality rate, maternal mortality rate, the availability of electricity, the size of our budget from 23,000 crore to 3.5 lakh crore, the network of our expressways and the highways. Today, it is possible that from Patna, you can touch any corner of the state and come back the same day. That was not possible. In fact, If you go 5 to 6 kilometers here, there is Gangaji. Gangaji के उस पार there is Raghupur constituency, which has been led by Lalu Yadav's family. But you won't believe, it's very difficult to believe that whenever there was flood, the entire village used to be cut off from the civilization. Today there is a 6-lane highway. So I think infrastructure-wise, financial inclusion-wise, opportunity-wise, jobs-wise, people of Bihar have seen a profound turnaround, and that has been the sort of hallmark of the governance by Mr. Nitish Kumar. The charm of government job remains, but at the same time today, there are platforms, there are opportunities. 13,000 crore industrial corridor has been announced in Gayaji. Today, development is taking at the level of the scale and the magnitude of development today is immense, and everyone, people are willing to come back. I'm not saying we don't need to work, we need to work, we need to put forth a positive and a vibrant vision with the youngsters of Bihar who have moved outside. They should come back and explore, seek opportunities for growth and development in Bihar for themselves, for the people of the state and the state as well.
So say if we were to discuss some ideas and if you were to lay down a 15 to 20 year roadmap, and if your party comes back to power, what do you think are the immediate things that you must fix for Bihar? I mean, I'm asking for ideas beyond what's written on the manifesto, practical things that need to be dealt with.
No, I think the most important thing that we need to work upon is building a network of industries. Industries that is new age, technology that is premised on AI is very critical and very important. We need a forward-looking vision. The essentials have been taken care of. The roti, kapda, makan through Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, the Ration Yojana, that has been taken care of. Now the level 2 aspirations will begin, where people would like to explore opportunities, seek leverages for themselves and the people of Bihar. So I think the next 25 years, we don't have a vision for the next 5 years, but we always are forward looking. Prime Minister Modi from the ramparts of the Red Fort has said that we have a vision of 2047 when there is a Viksit Bharat. So for a Viksit Bharat, Prime Minister has often said that the door of the Viksit Bharat, the gateway of the Viksit Bharat would be East India, because the southern part of our country and the western part of the country are relatively developed. The eastern part of the country has a lot of opportunity, has a lot of potential in terms of agriculture, in terms of food processing, in terms of human resources, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of religious and spiritual tourism as well. So I think we are analyzing all these opportunities, and we have put forth a vision which would be published in our manifesto by next week. People of Bihar are convinced, and that is visible from the election results in 2024, where we scored 75% marks. More than 150 candidates of NDA, they had a very decisive lead in the parliamentary elections, and we are hoping a similar 2/3 majority this time as well, on the basis of our vision, on the basis of our determination, and on the basis of our hard work which we are putting forward organizationally.
Is PK going to debit some votes?
Bihar,
Is it a concern?
I think it is an issue, but not a concern. In a way,
If I were to draw a parallel, the easy example that I would take is that of Kejriwal in Delhi and what happened in the early stages at least. Is it similar?
oh, see, in politics there is always an opening, and people are free to come, explore, put forward their vision, but eventually it lies the decision, the power to make that decision lies in the hands of the people of Bihar. If he is able to convince it, well and good, but from what we are doing, we have a track record, we have something to showcase, we have a 20 years roadmap where we have served, we have a 25 years roadmap ahead of us as well. So I think by and large, the women of Bihar, like, they have been the most unsung aspect of the Bihar story. Mr. Nitish Kumar has been very categorical, the NDA has been very categorical, because for the first time in the country, we were the first state to give affirmative action for women in the local self-governments. Today, Bihar police can boast of having highest women police force, not only in terms of constabulary, but also in terms of the leadership position as well. Today, if you look at the government jobs in Bihar, there is a 35% reservation for them as well. And recently, we have announced the Mukhyamantri Mahila Rozgar Yojana, which has sort of given an agency and financial autonomy to our women folks as well. across the Bihar. There are small MSME startups, from handicrafts to sewing machines to textiles to rearing goats as well, to production of milk as well, production of dairy product as well. So I think what we have done in the last 20 years will sort of come on the surface in the next couple of years, to say that.
How important is migration as an agenda for Bihar? Because a lot of people travel to other cities and they face a lot of hardships and they face humiliation as well. And it's extremely disheartening to see such incidents happening, whether it's in Bangalore, it's in Mumbai. In fact, we are doing an explainer on the whole Girmitiya system, which used to exist back in the day during the British Empire. And to my eyes, it feels very inhuman because, I feel that even after independence, it's taken a different shape, it's taken a different route. And even today, it's very saddening that people have to travel so far for work. Because given a choice, I wouldn't leave my city or my home. I would want to live in Patna, I would want to live in Rajgir, I would want to live somewhere else.
No, I don't disagree with you. Migration has been an issue, but that is also historical, like you said. Like there was a Girmitiya where large swaths of our population went to Trinidad, Tobago, to Mauritius and parts of African countries as well. But distress migration is something that is a challenge and we are not shying away from it. We accept it. We have a vision for that. There are multiple examples. The Chanpatia model in West Champaran district, if you see, people who came back after the corona pandemic, they started a business of their own. But we need more such Chanpatia models. We need more such models of entrepreneurship at every block, at every district. And I think a district-specific vision, a region-specific vision with respect to innovation, entrepreneurship, and incubation would unravel itself in the next couple of years. And that would sort of contribute towards lessening the distress migration.
So every party is like equally focused on a lot of women voters, and rightfully so. In fact, Nitish came into power because of proposing alcohol ban. Now, while that has helped a lot of women, that has also led to a lot of side effects. Drugs are on the rise in Bihar, and there are other issues that the government could possibly not have foreseen. So in such a situation, what does a government need to do?
Every policy has its pluses and minuses. Murder is prohibited, robbery is prohibited, dacoity is prohibited, but unfortunately those things happen. Similarly, if you look at the survey from the National Family Health Survey data, you look at the data from domestic violence, the domestic violence data has tremendously gone down. If you give women the agency, if you give women the autonomy, if you empower them, you see a different level of development. Unfortunately, there were some instances with respect to liquor, but the government has a commitment when it comes to law and order. In fact, the NDA government, for the first time when Mr. Nitish Kumar became the chief minister by the blessings of late Atal Bihari Vajpayee, he said that I'm not going to compromise on three C's: crime, corruption, and communalism. And that has been a that has given us a huge advantage. But some incidents are there, but incidents are always there. The government is concerned about it. The government's priority is law and order. And we are going to focus on giving more and more power and authority to the women, folks, and families.
So I wanted to ask you, since there's a huge section of a Muslim pocket, say in Kishanganj and all of those areas, we in fact see Owaisi coming and campaigning. And in fact, the average Bihari is perhaps more patriotic than the average Indian anywhere else. And that's an established fact. So which is why we see this, patriotism in Muslims, and which is why Owaisi also does a lot of these stunts too, just to appease them. The BJP is now like targeting a lot of the Pasmandas. So can you explain to somebody outside of Bihar how the politics works here?
It's a very interesting question. When PM says Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas and Sabka Prayas, that is not just a slogan, but every single party worker, we try and live by those principles. Like, there is absolutely no distinction in the name of caste or religion. I can give you multiple such examples. In fact, we just spoke about APJ Abdul Kalam. It was the Bharatiya Janata Party led NDA that ensured that for the first time we have APJ Abdul Kalam, a scientist, a person of eminence, a person of huge academic excellence, leading the nation as the president of our country. We have had Paramveer Chakra Abdul Hamid, who was not remembered, who had a very phenomenal role in the war of 1965. a commemoration was done. Honorable Prime Minister ensured and meet the family members of Paramveer Chakraveer Abdul Hamid as well. For us, everyone is equal. We absolutely have no faith. In fact, we resist the idea of appeasement. We are for justice for everyone, development for everyone. If you look at the data of Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Jan Dhan Yojana, a huge section of those beneficiaries come from the Muslim background. Point number one. Point number two, Prime Minister has said, and our party believes that the marginalized among the Muslim sections as well, the Pasmandas as well. If you look at Danish, who has become a minister in the Uttar Pradesh government, for the first time a Pasmanda has become a minister in the Uttar Pradesh government. On the contrary, the popular perception is that Uttar Pradesh government is saffronized and so on and so forth. But we take care of everyone. If you look at the national level as well, for the first time in the history of Jammu Kashmir, we have a tribal Muslim, Ghulam Mir, who was sent to Rajya Sabha. Similarly, there are multiple such initiatives, multiple such conversations have started through Waqf Amendment, Uniform Civil Code, the revocation of Article 317. These are some long-term measures. This would have decadal impacts on the lives of an average Muslim person as well, especially the Muslim woman and the weaker and the marginalized section among the Muslims as well. That's the way we look at the Pasmanda dialogue.
If I want to travel to Bihar, the normal places that everybody suggests is either Rajgir or Gaya or Patna. But I know that there is so much potential for tourism almost in every district. So if you were to introduce Bihar and invite somebody to Bihar, how would you describe the regions?
I don't need to introduce Bihar because Bihar has been blessed, Bihar has been privileged. In fact, during the Pitri Paksh, we saw families from across the world coming to Gaya Ji for doing the Pitri Paksh Puja. We have our Chhat festival, and you see again, Chhat is being celebrated globally at the global stages as well. You go to Washington, you go to London, you go to New York, there would be Bihari families celebrating Chhat. These are our key cultural institutions. Those actually matter. And point number two, if you ask me specifically the places of faith, the places of spiritual tourism, Gautam Buddha attained Nirvan here and in Bodh Gaya. Similarly, we have very important shrines with respect to Vardhan Mahavir as well. We have the birthplace of Guru Gobind Singh as well. Now we'll have a Sita temple as well. We have had very defining universities that has guided civilization. The remains, the ruins of the Nalanda University, Vikramshila University. There are multiple such places of significance culturally and civilization, civilizationally that matters to us. And you would see in the next couple of years, we developing tourism-based ecosystem in all these places, in all these pockets. Like if you go 1 hour from here, there is a temple of Vishnu and Shiv together. It's called Hariharnath. And the yatra from Hariharnath to Pashupatinath in Nepal has been very foundational. We have multiple shrines where Kanwad Yatra also takes place. So I think a lot of potential lies when it comes to spiritual tourism. In the next couple of years, we are looking forward to leverage those opportunities to create jobs, to create an ecosystem that benefits the locals as well, and also end up contributing towards the enhancing of faith of people.
So the BJP has focused on a lot of infrastructure growth, whether it's for manufacturing to grow or for the industries to come in, for tourism to grow. In fact, the basic thing that you need is good connectivity. Now there is Patna Metro, there's Vande Bharat in Bihar, and a lot of other expressways are being built. But why is there a perception that there are falling bridges, that there are collapsing buildings, and that is endemic to Bihar regardless of which party is in power?
Nahin, dekho, this has happened. I mean, it was in news as well, but you are a man from media, you do realize that positive things, they do not make news, the negative things, the negative news, it travels fast. I can say, like, if you land at Patna Airport, the new terminal building of the Patna Airport, you see that is a marvel in itself. If you go to Darbhanga, Darbhanga has a new airport, Purnia has a new airport, Gaya has always been an airport with a decent amount of international connectivity as well. We have a network of Vande Bharat trains crisscrossing Bihar today. Like I said, you can go to any point in Bihar and come back to Patna on the same day. These are some very key, like I said, these are stage 1 developments. Now the stage 2, which I personally call aspirational developments, the creation of tourism-based ecosystem, the creation of AI and blockchain-based, technological-based industry is something which we are looking forward to. You would see less and less of those news, but again, that's the nature of the media, that's the nature of the news cycle to say that it catches negative news, but you would see in the next couple of years more positive news, more positive stories coming from the land of Bihar.
So, in terms of like, do you also believe that the quality of people will eventually determine how a state perhaps performs? Like, if we look at the quality of people, say in Japan, that known for being extremely hardworking in that sense, like even Prime Minister Narendra Modi, after he came to power, he did the most basic thing, which I think we should have done a long time ago, which is tell people that you should not litter. And perhaps Bihar, being the land of enlightenment, being the land where civilization and kingdoms arose, where do you think there was a disconnect?
No, देखो, quality of life is something which remains an issue. How do we make it better? That remains a challenge. And I think Honorable Prime Minister from the rampant to the Red Fort has made cleanliness or Swachhta a Jan Andolan, a people-led movement. But from the basics, like see, when in 2005 when we came to power, there were existential challenges of roti, kapda and makan.
Yeah.
If you look at the data, the gross enrollment rate, I mean, I'm reminded of an image where young girls in villages wearing blue kurta and having 2 ponytails, going to school on a cycle. The cycle scheme proposed by CM Nitish Kumar was a huge success, and gross enrollment rate today is high. The number of institutional delegates, for that matter, the people who have been uplifted from the poverty line, people below poverty line before 2005 was almost 75%. Today, it's hardly 20%. So I think poverty, gross enrollment rate, engineering colleges in every district, a medical college with super specialty facilities at every district. We have a cancer center that has come up in Muzaffarpur. We have 2 All India Institute of Medical Sciences, 2 AIIMS. I think Bihar has been very fortunate and privileged when it comes to health ecosystem. 2 AIIMS, a network of medical colleges, a network of super specialty centers, a network of cancer centers as well, because it is becoming a huge endemic. So quality of life is premised on 3 key things, which is health and education. You look at the education network, we have 2 central universities, one in Gaya, which is the Central University of South Bihar, another one is in Motihari, which is the Central University of North Bihar. If you go to like couple of kilometers from here, you would see a Meethapur educational area, where there is a Chandragupta Institute of Management, there is a Chanakya National Law University, there is a National Institute of Fashion Technology, there is an IIT 30 minutes from here, there is an IIM in Bodh Gaya. So I think even as someone who has grown up in Bihar, in the 90s of Bihar, we see these institutions as cradle of development. I think people can pursue higher education and eventually seek an opportunity for themselves and have a prosperous life here.
Some of my friends were telling me that when they went to college in Patna, there is a factor that is often overlooked, especially by the Delhi media, is that there is an active class divide. I mean, like any other society, that people coming from neighboring districts and other backward districts are often looked down upon, and Patna for them is an aspirational place to come to. Can you explain that for somebody who does not know Bihar well, especially because if we look at the numbers as well in terms of various metrics, Patna is way ahead in that sense. Like there are still districts that are extremely backward, similar to how like the Gulbarga and Bidar and all these North Karnataka regions in Karnataka is like people think that the entire of South is developed, but it's actually not true. It's as bad as any other state in the North.
No, absolutely. But listen, if someone from Patna goes to Delhi, whatever class he or she belongs to, they would face or suffer similar difficulty.
Yeah.
But that is not the question. The question is to create level playing field. How we can create equal opportunities, that is more important. And if you have that sense of aspiration, if you have that sense of hunger to do well in life, I think no matter where you are, what we are trying to do as government, what we are trying to do as people who are in politics or in leadership is to create institutions, is to create equal opportunities for everyone. You have courses in law, like I said, Chanakya National University. You have courses in management, Chandragupta Institute of Management. You have courses in fashion technology, National Institute of Fashion Technology, IIT and IIM. So I think more such institutions at the micro level. You're right when you say that people from neighboring district, people from Araria, Jahanabad, Gaya, Nevada, how can we empower these centers as well? That remains a key issue, and coming forward, looking forward, we look towards building, like there is a Central University in Gaya for that matter, and I was really happy when I was there last year to see Onam being celebrated in Gaya. I mean, it was a huge renaissance moment for me when I saw like hundreds of students from Kerala coming together and celebrating the festival of Onam in a village in Gaya, in a Central University. So things are changing. You can say the pace is slow, but we are evolving from where we were to where we are now. That's a huge transformation. You ask an average Bihari, you would realize that.
Are we far away from, say, a return of the Jungle Raj, or is there that fear? Because especially your party keeps on using that card that Jungle Raj will return.
I would not say that we keep on using that card. I would say, in fact, we don't even take the credit of the coinage of the term. It was the Patna High Court that come out with Jungle Raj, and it somehow gained currency in the average imagination of a Bihari. Because as someone who has grown up in that phase, been a witness to those atrocities, I can say, there are cases like Champa Biswas, wife of an IAS officer suffering custodial institutional rape and death. There is a case of a Shilpi Jain, where a young promising girl during the 90s, student of Patna Women's College, Miss Patna, suffering eventual rape and death, and it was linked to the CM house back then as well. We have had kidnapping rackets, extortion racket, which was so commonplace back then. So I think from those dark days of Bihar, today we rarely see such incident. And I think we are very fortunate that the focus and the priority of the government has been law and order. Jungle Raj per se, in my view, from the amount of work that we have done as a party and as the government, there is absolutely no resonance or reflection of anything that is being promised by Tejashwi Yadav, because people still see, like we normally, if you speak to an average Bihari, the acronym of RJD is R is for Rangdari, J is for Jungle Raj, and D is for Dadagiri. So that era of Rangdari, Jungle Raj and Dadagiri, people of Bihar will ensure that the family of Mr. Lalu Yadav is not even remotely near proximity to the position of power in Bihar. Be assured of that.
There is a lot of my friends who are from Patna, they usually, when I used to ask them earlier, "Aap kahan se ho?" they used to tell, "Hum Delhi se hai." So I see that there is a sense of shame in assuming the Bihari identity, and it always struck me as very peculiar. Because no matter where you're from, you have to be absolutely unapologetic about it. You have to take pride in the place that you come from. Sure, it may not be the best in the world, but it's not your problem. Do you think that the Bihari youth perhaps need to hold their heads high?
I would not disagree, and I think as someone who went out during the Jungle Raj days, we faced a similar situation, but things are changing. Like in the era of social media, the culture of Bihar, I mean, from the next couple of weeks, you would see reels with respect to Chhat coming on your Instagram feed, on your YouTube feed, and the cuisine of Bihar. I mean, we are not just litti chokha people. We have a very diverse set of cuisine as well. The products of Bihar, the Madhubani painting, the Mithila art is gaining a lot of recognition, especially after the Padma Samman and the Padma recognition. I think that is going to be the soft power of Bihar. And we are focusing on building a soft power network, a soft power infrastructure of Bihar. When it comes to makhana, 90% of makhana production is in Bihar. In a couple of districts, makhana has now become superfood. Sattu, for that matter, a lot of youngsters, they
like a protein
take
shake.
protein shake. I mean, the real protein shake, the real natural shake is our sattu, which fills you up, which gives you that sufficient amount of protein that you require to operate in a day. So I think sattu, makhana, our soft power, our cultural and civilizational institutions would see that tag of Bihari being reimagined, being revisited, and people have started taking that pride. Biharis in the country outside Bihar, Biharis outside the country, anywhere in the world, I have had the opportunity to go to New York, to Australia, to London, and I make sure that I always organize meeting with the diaspora organizations of Bihar. They're very much looking forward to it. They're willing to invest, and we are going to create single window clearance, single window opportunity where NRIs, NRBs can come back, create opportunities, and benefit from the ecosystem which will be created in the next 2 years.
So a lot of these people living in Fiji and these other islands who had migrated like hundreds of years ago, do you think there is a chance that they would perhaps want to come back at some point?
Ideally, we would work towards that, and we would love to see the day 2047.
There was this post that went viral on Twitter now once that Mauritius ka wo railway networks or wo sab uska the photographs of that was viral, and they said Biharis only built this. When they can build cities abroad, they can build cities within India. It is very much possible that within the next 10 years, if everyone works together, it is possible.
Absolutely. The right amount of commitment, the right amount of faith, and the right leadership. What we need is leadership. We have given pace, but that pace needs to enhance in the next couple of years if we want to sort of break even with the rest of the country. And we are working towards that. You would see in the next couple of years a leadership reimagining things. The talking points of Bihar, the talking points with respect to Bihar would see a profound shift when there would be technology and AI-based institutions and ecosystem being developed in the future.
So in terms of the first few priorities, like if you were to come into the government, what would you do in the first 1 year, 3 years and 5 years?
So I think our manifesto and our leaders have presented this view. Institutions that we have built, the infrastructure that we have built, how do we create micro ecosystem for tourism? One, micro tourism for our culture, and micro ecosystem for our products. In the sense, the Makhana processing center Makhana board has been announced by the central government.
Yeah.
The topmost priority of central government, if you look at the budget this year, if you look at the budget last year, has been Bihar. We have received a sizable, substantial financial assistance and financial support from the union government, and we are thankful to that. You would see industrial network, you would see AI-based ecosystem, you would see tourism and product-based enterprises coming in Bihar, and I'm sure whenever you visit Bihar in the next couple of years, you would be able to witness those transformations by yourself.
You've written several books on the Dalit Samaj, and you've in fact been very critical about the Congress because it sort of tries to hijack the subaltern agenda in that sense. Is there an active persuasion on the part of your opposition parties where they try to separate the Hindu faith from the subaltern communities?
We cannot deny that, and the way they try to appropriate the legacy of Baba Sahib Ambedkar. I mean, the history of Congress party is fraught with so many feudal incidents. In fact, even today, V. Narayan Swamy, leader who comes from marginalized community, there was a photo that went viral where he was lifting chappals of Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Even today, a Dalit woman in Haryana, in the Congress party, Kumari Shailja, she was not given space in the banners and the posters. She was not offered the position of leadership in the state. Similarly, if you read this book called How Prime Minister Decides by senior journalist Neerja Chaudhary, there she has written, and I quote, Babu Jagjeevan Ram, tallest Dalit leader after Dr. Ambedkar of Bihar, Babu Jagjeevan Ram, who was the defense minister in the 1971 war, he was not given the credit. The entire credit went to someone else. And Babu Jagjeevan Ram, Neerja Chaudhary in her book Recalls, has to say that a Dalit can never become a prime minister of this country because of the behavior of the exploitative behavior of the Congress party. The history and the present circumstances are fraught with such examples. The Congress party wants to use the marginalized section, the Dalits, only as vote banks. They only want to come to power, but they are not willing to share the position of leadership. Sitaram Kesri, an OBC leader from Bihar, he was insulted in the Congress office in front of Madam Sonia Gandhi. So these are some incidents, and we can no longer make fool of us. You can no longer say that we stand with you, but on the contrary, there are absolutely no semblance of whatever you are speaking, whatever speeches that you are.
Can you give us examples of how strong the Hindu faith is in the Dalit communities? For example, even the community that you come from, Paswans, were always fighting for India in that sense. So how strongly rooted are the communities?
Absolutely. I mean, if you do a sociological analysis of Kanwad Yatra, if you do a sociological analysis of people who do Chhat, when you would understand the reality, a lot of those people undertake these festivals who are doing the fasting, which is very rigorous. They come from the marginalized section, they come from the marginalized communities. In fact, during Navratra, the largest pandal at the Dagbangla Chauraha has been made under the leadership of a Dalit community leader for the last 40 years. So the narrative which is set at universities, in urban centers by the people or the group of particular ideological affiliation, they have absolutely no connect with the ground reality. And that is one of the reasons that they have lost faith of the people. They have lost the touch in reality, the ground.
Who are some of the leaders that you look up to in Bihar, in historical figures as well?
Jayaprakash Narayan, Jannaik Karpuri Thakur, Babu Jagjeevan Ram. So, I mean, there are multiple, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. We have so many leaders with whom we can take inspiration. Politics of integrity, politics of simplicity, and people who have actually sacrificed their life for the cause of Bihar.
How does the average Bihari remember Atal Bihari Vajpayee?
A poet, statesman who was committed for the cause of Biharis, and I think during Atal Bihari Vajpayee, the only aims was allotted to Bihar. A lot of massive infrastructure, Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, the laying down of cellular lines, mobile lines, infrastructure was given by Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. We have a great amount of faith for his leadership.
I wanted to ask you this. Despite like years of struggle and decades and centuries of humiliation, even now when you talk to the average Bihari, they're extremely welcoming, they're warm. And I see that among my friend circle itself. What do you think has kept that warmth within an average Bihari alive, despite all the odds that they face outside of the street?
No, we are really hardworking people. We are really dedicated. I think it is difficult to imagine development of any place in the country without the contribution of an average Bihari. We can be construction workers, efficient construction workers. At the same time, we can be engineers in Apple and Amazon as well. We can be partners at the PwCs and the ENYs as well. We can be professors and vice chancellors as well. So given an opportunity, given the right set of circumstances, we can aspire to become, we can achieve the maximum. There is absolutely no denial of that.
Thank you so much for giving us your time. If you were to convince your average voter why they should vote for you or your alliance, how would you say that?
You would do an elementary analysis, look at the data, look at the infrastructure, look at the key health, education indicators, and I think the normal average person who is observing Bihar is absolutely privy to the fact that Bihar under Nitish Kumar has done tremendously well on all those indicators, and I have faith that people of Bihar, the voters of Bihar, will again give their blessings and an opportunity for us to serve.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Dhanwad.